My parents kept breaking into my apartment, so I moved without telling them and let them panic. When I first moved into my own apartment at 22, I gave my parents a spare key because they claimed it was for emergencies. I didn't think much of it at the time, but almost immediately they began using it as though my home were an extension of theirs. The first sign was subtle. I would return to find things moved around, throw pillows rearranged, food containers left in my kitchen. My mother, Linda, had been letting herself in to check on me. When I asked her to call first, she brushed it off as unnecessary because she was my mother. Soon after, I discovered my cousin Nora's shampoo in my shower. My mother had decided Nora could stay there while visiting without informing me at all. When I objected, she said I was being selfish for not accommodating family. A month later, I found some of my mail opened. My father, Rick, admitted he had gone through it because he thought he should check for anything important. That was the moment I sat them down and asked for the key back. They refused, insisting that as my parents they had a right to access my apartment whenever they felt it was necessary. Their reaction made it clear they had no intention of respecting my boundaries, so I changed the locks the next day and did not provide them with new keys. I believed the issue was resolved, until 2 weeks later when I came home to find my mother sitting casually on my couch. She had obtained a new key from my landlord after convincing him she needed it for emergency access. I later instructed the landlord never to grant entry to anyone without my explicit permission. I assumed that was the end of it, but another month passed, and I returned home to find the window screen popped out and my window open. Although nothing was missing, someone had folded my laundry and placed a casserole in the refrigerator with a note from my mother expressing concern that I wasn't eating enough. She later admitted she had climbed through the window because the door was locked, and she believed she had the right to enter regardless. When I contacted my father to express how serious the situation had become, he suggested that if I had simply given them a key like a normal son, they wouldn't need to resort to such extremes. In that moment, I realized no number of locks or warnings would keep them out. As long as they knew where I lived, they would continue crossing boundaries. My only real option was to disappear. I found a new apartment across the city in a building with a doorman and strict guest policies. I signed the lease quietly, took a day off work without informing anyone, rented a moving truck, and with the help of 2 friends, moved everything out in one afternoon. When the place was empty, I returned the keys, walked away, and didn't look back. For 3 days I replied to my parents casually to avoid suspicion. Then I stopped responding. Immediately the calls began, dozens of them. The final voicemail was from my mother, frantic and tearful, saying they were at my apartment and everything was gone. When I eventually called back, they were distressed, convinced something terrible had happened. Instead of explaining where I was, I asked why they were at my apartment uninvited. The silence on the other end told me everything. They insisted they were worried because I hadn't answered, which only confirmed my decision. Their repeated break-ins, manipulation of my landlord, and refusal to respect my autonomy were the exact reasons I had moved without telling them. They demanded my new address, certain they were entitled to it. I refused. I reminded them that they had broken into my home, gone through my belongings, and entered through a window when locked out. I would not give them the chance to do it again. That was 4 months ago. They still don't know where I live. And for the first time, I have peace in my own home.